So in this video demo, I'll be walking you through my project and also talking about different parts of my project, so how everything will be put together. Yeah, so before I start, a big shout out to DigitalOcean. So prior to signing up to this challenge, I had zero experience with all the DevOps tools like Kubernetes, Terraform, and so once I started the project, I got to learn many things like Ansible, Terraform. I also tried out argocd and circleci. So yes, so it was really amazing. So yeah, thank you very much, DigitalOcean. So let's talk about my project. So getting back to my project, so the main objective for me in this project was to have a complete CI/CD pipeline that would build and deploy my application to a Kubernetes cluster. So that is, after the code is pushed in an application repo, a CI pipeline should build the container image and push it to a Docker Hub, and also update the K8's manifest, the Kubernetes manifest files with the latest container image. And finally, a CD tool that would apply the latest manifest configuration to the cluster. What do we have here is a CDN application that I'll try to deploy on a Kubernetes cluster. So why CDN? So usually without a CDN, you would have an application deployed in a particular region, and when a user sitting across the globe tries to access application, there would be a delay in the request and response. So to solve this, we usually deploy servers across various regions and tell them to cache the content of the origin server. And when a user tries to access the application, the content is served from the nearest cache or the proxy servers to the users. So in this case, it's much faster. Okay. So yes, so in this project, I have tried to build a CDN kind of where the origin server is a WordPress application and the cache servers would be running on Nginx. Okay. So yeah. So as mentioned, the project has two parts: the origin server, the WordPress application, and the proxy server would be the Nginx application. We'll be deploying both of these applications separately. So let's start with the WordPress application first. So over here, I've made a separate repository for the WordPress application. So let's check this out. Okay. It's loading. Okay. So in this, we'll have everything: the Docker file, the circleci configuration, everything's defined over here. So that is it. So if we just check the circleci config, so this has a job defined that would build the Docker image and push it to Docker Hub. And in the next part, we have these so in the next part, it would be updating the Kubernetes manifest file on a different repo. So it will be so here we'll be building the Docker image, and once the image is built and pushed to Docker Hub, we'll be using the image tag. We'll be updating the image tag to a different repository. Okay, to start off, we need to first clone this repository. So this repository has the Kubernetes files for the WordPress and the Nginx application. So here we'll have the WordPress. So this will be the CD and Nginx deployment. And if we come to web servers, would be the WordPress application over here and the deployment.yaml. Yeah. So over here we have the container image that circleci will be building and updating here. And if we go back, we have the Terraform folder that has the infra code, and this will help us set up the cluster faster. So over here, if we check the cluster with web server main.tf, so we have this module that would create the project in DigitalOcean, and also the second module that will set up the Kubernetes cluster for us. So I have created this as a module. So the main reason for doing this is because we'll be reusing the code even for the CDN.
Yeah, so we just check the module folder and K8s main.tf.
So in the main.tf files, we have the provider for DigitalOcean, and then we have the resource for the Kubernetes cluster over here, and we also have a second resource where we assign the cluster to the project created. And we also have one more interesting thing over here, the provisioner for the local exec. So once the cluster is ready, so what this local exec would do is it would get the kubeconfig from the Terraform state file, and it will save it in a separate directory. So that will be useful for us later in a later part to access the cluster. So we don't need to there's no need for us to go to the DigitalOcean dashboard again and download the config for the cluster. Okay, so let's start. So I already have this repository cloned and ready. So we just check. Yeah, so I'm over here. So let me go to Terraform. Yeah, so first we'll be deploying the web server, right? So the web server would be the WordPress site. So the first thing we need to do is Terraform init. So that will initialize all the modules for us. Yes, so the next part would be Terraform plan. So I've already defined the variable file, so just check over here. Yeah, so vars.tf. Yeah, so check, I've already defined the variable, so we want again just change this variable. So we'll be using this for the Terraform file for Terraform plan. So Terraform plan WordPress. So it should be a var file. Yes, so basically Terraform plan is a kind of a dry run, so to just show if there's any error. So the next thing would be to have an apply. Yes. Okay. Application error over here. So we do need a DigitalOcean token. So for that, we need to go to the DigitalOcean dashboard and over here API tokens and keys, create a new key. So let's name it maybe admin generate token. Yeah, so our token is created.
Copy it and maybe have it somewhere. Okay, and to use this token, we need to first export it as an environment variable. So for that, I guess it's called, yes, so we can export it as DigitalOcean token. Yeah, export DigitalOcean token equal to the token that we copied.
Yes, it's done. So if we run apply again, yes, so this is creating the cluster for us. So if we quickly go to DigitalOcean dashboard and refresh, yeah, so we have the project over here, and if we go to Kubernetes, yeah, we have a cluster also. Yes, so it's been created and our cluster should be ready now. And so we just come to DigitalOcean and refresh. Config folder. Yeah, so we have the config over here. So kubectl config to web get pods maybe. Yes, that's fine.
Yes, works perfect. So let's copy this part again, so we might need this in later. So I will copy this part. Okay. Okay, so the next thing what we'll be doing is, yeah. Yes, so I already have
my Docker Hub account set up. So yes, over here Docker Hub, and I've also created the repository.
So over here I already have the DO Creators Challenge WordPress. repository created, and so we would require the Docker Hub access token that will be used by circleci. So let's get that access token, new access token, circleci generate, copy token. So
yes, so we'll be using this later. So the next one will be setting up circleci. So let's log into circleci. So it's always best with circleci is to use your GitHub login. So it takes care of the auth and everything. So your repositories it's added, the organization, everything is automatically added. So it's always good to use the GitHub login. So I'm using the GitHub login and I authorize circleci and my password. So from now, like circleci would have access to all of my repositories. My organization and my project would be, so right now we are deploying the Kubernetes WordPress site here. So do Kubernetes. So this has the circleci config over here. So let me go to circleci and select the, oh, it's not showing up. I think I've already added it. Yeah, so let me quickly unfollow this. And when we click on setup, so yeah, so we'll need to like select the circleci config.yaml and mention the branch and just click on let's go, and it would add. Okay, try to deploy. Okay, this is 1 day ago. So next thing what we want to do is to add the Docker Hub environment.
that will be the token that we copied. Yes. Yeah, so the next part will be we also need the
GitHub token, right? So that will be used by circleci to update the manifest file. So let's do that now.
So let's get the GitHub token. So it's like settings, developer setting, personal access token, generate this, and it has the repo access. Okay, let me copy this. So let's add this in circleci. So everything is good. So now when you click on the build button, so this has to build.
And yes, so let's try to rerun the workflow from start.
Okay, it's still okay. It started. Okay, so it's trying to build the Docker image, and so now it's trying to push it to Docker Hub.
Yes, so it's done. So if you quickly like go to Docker Hub, and if you go to our repositories and WordPress, and if you click on tags, we'll see our image over here, newest. Yeah, so this is the image that's pushed right now. And also, like if you go to our GitHub repository with the manifest Kubernetes manifest file, there should be a commit. So let me refresh this page. Yeah, So there's a commit over here, and if we check this commit, yeah, so this has updated the image, the container image tag over here. Yeah, so this looks fine. So the next part, what we'll be doing is, so the next part, like we need to apply this manifest file to the cluster. Yeah, so for that, we'll be using argocd. Yeah, so let's start. Let's copy. Let's create the work. So here it will be installing argocd. So something's wrong. Okay, I deleted the web over here. Yes. Yeah, so this is done. So the next part would be like exposing the service. So we need access to the argocd dashboard. Yeah, so for that, yeah, so we'll be exposing the service using a load balancer. Yes, so now we should see a load balancer in our dashboard. So let's check that. That should be under networking, I guess. Yeah. So our load balancer is being deployed. So meanwhile, we also need a password to access the dashboard. So let's use this to get the password. So this should be our password. So once our load balance is ready, like we'll be able to access the argocd dashboard. So let's wait, this is completed. Perfect, so we are good to go. So let's copy this IP and open this in a new tab. Yes, we don't need it. Yes, and we don't need the password. So this would be the password. admin password and sign in. So we are inside the argocd dashboard. So let's add the application. So the first application will be the WordPress application. Press default sync is automatic. So argocd has a sync option. So every 3 minutes it will check the repository if there's any changes. And we need to add the repository URL. So that would be this repository where we have all the manifest files. It yes. I think it's called web server. As per URL default namespace, and all the thing is not required, so let's say create. Yes, so this should take some time. So once it's ready, like we'll have one more load balancer over here. So if we just refresh this page, I think we should see a load balancer that's being created for WordPress. Yes, so once it's up, so yes, so our WordPress application should be up now. So let's complete the WordPress installation. So let's name the project and then let's use the password. Yes, we are done. So as I told you over here, so
I've already done a CSS change, so let me try to revert this change back. Okay. That's fine. So it is called green, so let's try replacing this. And if you do any changes over here, I think yes, the circleci should be intimated and there should be a build over here. Yeah, so the build is running, and that will build the Docker image and also push it to Docker Hub. And so you can just wait, and if you quickly so currently our website is white in color, so I think once the deployment is done, the background color of the site should change. So let's wait for, yeah, so even the manifest file is deployed, and I think if we go to a repository which has the manifest file, there should be a commit, yeah, 12 seconds ago, and if we check, the image should be 73. Okay, so like yeah, so argocd has an automatic sync. I think it's done every 3 minutes, so let's wait till argocd detects the change and deploys the manifest file. Yes, it got the new sync and syncing now and deploying. Yeah, so you can see over here it's deploying. So this is done. So if we go back over here and refresh, yes, so we see a new site over here with a new background color.
let's start with deploying the Terraform for the CDN Nginx application. So the code for the Nginx would be inside the cluster CDN. Okay, Terraform cluster CDN. Minute. Plan. Was so the plan looks good. So now let's apply the config. Yes, So this will create the project. So meanwhile, if you go to the dashboard and refresh again, yeah, so we'll see a new project. So we'll see a new project and also few Kubernetes clusters that are being provisioned. Yeah, so we have 3 different Kubernetes clusters on different regions. So why is this happening? So if you just check the main.tf file, so we have 3 different regions already defined over here. So one over here, one will be the Bangalore region, one is the Amsterdam, and the last would be the New York region. So this will take some time. So while this infra is being provisioned, so let's quickly check the repo for the Nginx application. Proxy server. Yeah, cache proxy Nginx. So this would be the repository for the Nginx application with the Docker image. So over here, like, we need to update the IP address of our origin server, so this will be the IP address. Okay, damage changes. Yes, so we'll also need to add this project in circleci. Okay, let's go to project, Nginx setup, select the circleci config YAML. So over here also we'll need to update this. So this looks fine, and now we go to the Nginx application and try to redeploy. Okay, it's running now. Perfect. It's done. So now if we go and check the manifest file, so yeah, circleci has updated the manifest file, so that would be over here, cdn and Nginx deployment, and it has updated the image over here. So we just check the history. Yes, yeah, so it has updated the image over here. Okay, done. So the next thing what we'll be doing is we'll be applying this manifest file to our cluster. So right now the cluster is still being created, so we'll just wait for a while. So once this is complete, okay, so now our cluster is ready. So if we go into our project, yeah, so we have 3 clusters in 3 different regions. Okay, so now we can apply the manifest file using argocd, but just to keep it simple, like I'll manually do it.
So if you see, like, circleci has updated the manifest file with the latest image for the CDN. So we need that file, right? So that's the reason why I did a git pull over here. So we would have the latest file and then go to the k8 folder. Yes, so over here it will be CDN. Okay, now first let me get the path of the
Yes, so Nginx deployment is created. So we quickly go to the Nginx DigitalOcean dashboard. We should see a load balancer being provisioned. So networking, yeah, so we have the load balancer being provisioned. So meanwhile, let's also apply the config to other clusters. nyc. So it is created, and I think the third one should be yes, so it's Amsterdam. So we should be having like 3 different load balancers being provisioned. Yes, our load balancer is provisioned. So let's select the Bangalore one, BLR. So that would be closest to me. So I'm currently from Pondicherry. I'm in Pondicherry, so that's the closest one to me. Yes, so let's inspect and check the ping to the server. So network and refresh. Yeah, so it's 74 ms, and the same, like if you check to the default origin server, that's in NYC, New York. So if we refresh over here, you have a ping of like yeah, so it's like 562. Yes. Yeah. So yeah, yes, so that's all guys. So so if you see over here, so this is just an beginner's project. Like over this there are many more things pending, like we need to set up a DNS server that would be routing traffic between the different CDN endpoints, and also we also need to add many more features like cache invalidations and other things. So I think for timing it's fine, and thank you very much.